morning. Welcome to the Elite Life Show here on TNE Network. I'm your host, James J.T. Thompson. Um, very, very blessed and honored to have our special guest in the building with us today. No other than actress Maria Howell. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well. So for the people that don't know, that's been under a rock or maybe sleeping or doing the Sleepy Hollow thing, please give them a little synopsis on who you are.
Well, I am a North Carolina native, Gastonia to be specific, and I am an actor, I'm a singer, I'm a voiceover artist, and not necessarily in that order. It depends on what I'm doing that day.
Definitely.
People will most notably know me from the movie The Color Purple as choir soloist. That was done back in 1985, 86, and been doing that since then.
So talk a little bit about what inspired you, what motivated you to even go into any of that? What first gave you the spark and the interest to do so?
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question. I don't know what necessarily gave me the spark, but I do know that I knew at the age of 6 years old, this is what I'd be doing. It was a matter of looking in the mirror, having a conversation with God as I know God, and just knew it. And I didn't think so much about it growing up. It was just something that was just always in me. I was always singing in church and school, in college, and then when I was able to do it for as a professional, you know, it was just always there. I just never really thought that much about it. I've always tried to be better at it, or at all the things that I do, and inspire others, and be an example of how you can be from a small town, do this, and still stay grounded, if you will. Yeah. So I want to be a good example of that.
What is the most important lesson that you have learned? And let's go early in life. What was a good, wise lesson that you applied to your life early on?
Be kind. To be kind. That's a loaded question, because I've always, you know, I come from a big family, and I grew up in church, so I've always had that love your neighbor attitude, love yourself, love God above everybody and everything. You know, we can veer off and get in all kinds of directions in our lives and bump our heads, but that has always been the foundation. So it's something that's kind of kept me grounded, if you will. And so I use that in just about every aspect of my life. Be kind as you can. Just be kind.
That is my first impression, and first time I seen you was The Color Purple, the choir scene, and what an impact it made on my life, because that song resonated and spoke so many volumes, especially when not just trying to navigate through life itself, but there are moments that song takes you to another place. Yeah. And how does it feel to know that you were associated with such a special moment, and that was legacy within itself?
It's been an honor. I mean, it's been humbling, because I've done so many things after that, but that has always been the starting point, which is a great starting point. And it's iconic. And sometimes I have to really remind myself that how iconic it is, because I'm busy working and doing so many other different things. Yeah. And people will remind me, because they reenact that scene all the time, and let me know how important it was. But that song itself is, you're right, it has a lot of layers to it. And even to this day, it still resonates with me and touches me in a way I'm sure that it touches other people. I don't really look at it like that is such, I mean, what am I trying to say? I didn't get so stuck in the moment where I can't move past that moment, but it was a pivotal moment in my life for several reasons. Personally, spiritually, professionally. And then, like I said, the lyrics mean something, because I can just go back and listen to that song. Sometimes I listen to the actual soundtrack, and the whole movie soundtrack is really moving for me. I actually own a a purple vinyl copy of the soundtrack of The Color Purple. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
always been a special nugget in my life, a special, special thing.
Talk a little bit about how important your faith is to your life.
It's everything. It's everything. It's the starting point for me. And when I need a restart, it's the starting point. It's the restart point. It's what I know. I'm growing still in my faith. It is very important because it has sustained me and maintained me through times that were very, very tough. You know, I've lived in a lot of cities. I've even lived in a different country. And the thing I have been able to rely on is my faith. Yeah.
Faith being very, very important. So it brings me to a question that I know comes a lot. How did you navigate through, and how are you dealing with the COVID period that we've been going through?
Well, all of us are being tested. The COVID period, the first thing I think about is the fact that the first year, the whole year of 2020, I was digging deeper into studying the word, because I think the pandemic actually allowed us or made us face the fact, are we in our faith or are we just at our faith? It separated us, or less sifted us, I'll say. And we had to take a hard, cold look at ourselves. And I did, and I wasn't where I wanted to be. I got better, I got deeper. But it really helped me a lot I'm used to being by myself quite a bit, but I had to dig deep, and I had no other choice because I was either going to sink or swim. Fortunately, go ahead.
Well, no. You continue in the answer because I got a question for you.
No, I was going to say, fortunately, I was on the upside of it because I saw a lot of people crumble and have a harder time.
Is it things that you had to remind yourself as you're traveling and moving around? Or do you run across things that remind you of why you're humble, why you're able to stay grounded as you move around and about? There are examples of that in your travels?
Every day. I mean, I think one of the main things, because I meet so many different kinds of people from different walks of life, it reminds me, I mean, all ages, whatever, it reminds me of how blessed I am to be able to be in a position to help make people smile. I know that's part of what my calling is through voice, through interaction. To me, that's the platform. That's the vehicle to get to do what I'm supposed to be doing. What I'm supposed to be doing is making people smile, making them feel better in life. So when I meet people that are less fortunate, or even people that are more fortunate, just talking to somebody, you can tell a lot about what they're unhappy about, or what's, you don't have to know the specifics, but just knowing I have an opportunity to express and to share, even if it's in conversation or in song or in acting or whatever it is, I know I'm doing the right thing. And it humbles me to know that I'm able to do that. I'm in a position to do that. I'm not the only one in life, but I am in that number of those people, in that collection of folks that we get to show up and affect people in a positive way.
As far as showing up, was there anybody that you came across in life that has inspired you? As far as doing things, who are some of those people?
That's a long list. And I don't know if we have time for that, but I'll start with my mom and my dad. My family was very supportive, and they, my mom and dad taught us a lot. We were 6 kids in our family, and they taught us a lot. Thank goodness. Outside of some good folks in my hometown from church, Sunday school teacher had a big impact on me growing up. And in college, all over. It's like I gravitate toward people that have something to say that is about love, that's about positivity. I'm kind of one of those. I want to hang around those folks. But at the same time, I think we can learn from any and everybody. Some of the mentors in my profession, I'll go ahead and name a few of those. Lou Gossett Jr., Keith David, Margaret Avery, Nancy Wilson, even Ray Charles.
It is.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
solid.
it's a long list, because
Yeah.
whenever I get around everybody, I'm like soaking up information. I'm
Yeah.
asking questions, you know. And
Wow.
most
And
recently, Richard Roundtree. Yeah.
see, solid. Just to name a few is where we'll keep it.
Mhm.
But that list, there are a lot of people that contributed and that are contributing to what you're doing. And it keeps you well-rounded, spirited,
Yeah.
and working in a way that you were able to inspire and impact people. Let's just give you flowers while you're here. Those are the things that are really important. And I think you're amazing. I've watched you in numerous projects. And the thing that I get the most out of your singing and where you are with that, talk a little bit about what you're doing in different cities now.
Okay.
And talk about that project and let people know about that.
Well, I'm gonna have to multiply that and make it projects, because I'm kind of spinning several plates at the same time as far as singing goes. I think the closest thing that's coming up, I perform at Middle C Jazz in Charlotte.
Yes.
We do, Noel Friedline and I, we're there maybe every other month or every 3 months. But the next thing coming up is the end of April, which will be Notes for Middle C Live, which is a tribute to when we did the 13 straight weeks at the beginning of the pandemic. So many people are still talking about it that we decided to do a live version of it. And then I'll be singing with the Union Symphony Orchestra in Monroe, North Carolina. And that is what's crazy about that and special about it, is that's the area that we filmed The Color Purple. So I was asked to sing with the symphony. So Noel and I will be joining them. That's coming up. I'll be doing my concept, it's my pet project called Girls and Gowns. We'll be doing that at Middle C in July. I'll also be doing the Beckler in July, the Beckler Museum, which is in Charlotte. So I'm doing a lot of regional things. I'll be doing in May also the piano competition for the Jacksonville Jazz Festival in Florida. Hilton Head. So people need to look at the calendar, because I'm doing my best to keep up with myself right now.
Yeah.
In the midst of all of that, I constantly do voiceover work and have a cartoon character on HBO Max right now in the Ellen DeGeneres cartoon called Little Ellen. I played the part of Tallulah. And then I also am doing workshops. So
that's amazing.
it sounds like it's a lot, but I spread it out over a few months.
Of course.
Yeah.
You're working, and what a blessing. As we know that a lot of people are not able, and you continue to blaze a path.
Well, let me add something to that, what you're saying. And part of the reason, and this is what I inspire people to do a lot, is don't wait for somebody to pick up the phone. Make a gig. Meaning, I did that when I lived in LA full time. I wasn't singing enough. I went there for acting, but I have to sing. That's just part of what I just have to do. And I went and I found a venue and I put some people together and I made a gig, and it ran 2 years called Duets. And I just believe in, if it's something that's in your heart and it is a positive thing to do, and God willing, it'll come together, you know. I prayed about it and went forward, and it turned out to be a wonderful experience. So I don't always wait on the phone to ring. A lot of what's happening in my life right now is a result of the relationships I have forged from years ago, because people have heard and they've witnessed, and that's a beautiful blessing. But I also do a lot of fundraising too, because I'm also in the midst of, I MC events as well and host. So my family and I are in our fundraising mode for pancreatic cancer right now. And we have an event coming up the morning of April 30th on the campus of Central Piedmont Community College, as well as I am emceeing another event for my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta. So
it is. So such a blessing, you know, talking about being able to pour. God made room for your gifts, and also put in you how to navigate through, and not just be stagnant with it, but be moving actively.
Absolutely.
Like, here I am, and there you are, not just sitting back waiting for something to be laid out there to you, but creating and controlling the narrative at the same time.
I like what you said better, because I could call it OCD. ADD, whatever. No, I'm just joking.
It's incredible. Talk about some of the projects that you have worked on that people would be familiar with.
You mean like for TV and film?
Yeah, TV and film.
One is Hidden Figures that comes to mind right away. Hunger Games Catching Fire. I was on the first 3 seasons of Saints and Sinners, and then I have moved on to another series which just got picked up for a 2nd season. It's called Sacrifice, that stars Paula Patton. Okay. I play her aunt.
Okay.
And I can't think of, there are a few.
I seen you on OWN. I'm trying to remember what the series was.
I think that was Delilah.
That was Delilah.
Yeah, that was Delilah. I came in and pulled up the rear on the season finale episode. There's also, I think there are also a couple of, there's a Hallmark. I think I've done stuff for Hallmark, a couple of movies. One is called A Christmas Love Story, starring Kristen Chenoweth. I'm in that as well. So yeah, it's a
Tyler
blessing.
Perry.
Yeah,
Tyler Perry.
Yeah, done the haves and the have-nots. Meet Brown's House of Pain, Daddy's Little Girls. I've done several projects with him.
So what was it like interacting, seeing the movement of Mr. Perry as far as his humbleness and what he does?
He's a stickler, and he doesn't play. I think he's a master at multitasking different shows at the same time. So he's got a good reputation for that. I mean, what can I say? I mean, he's got a proven track record. I've been very fortunate to work on several of his projects,
Definitely. And to think about all the people that you work with, all the directors, all the crews, casting, the extras, you think about what you've been able to do over the course of your life, feeling blessed and feeling like, God, it could have been some other kind of way, but you made a way for me. Talk about a little bit about the impact that God had on your life as you navigated through many challenges, but yet here you are and there you stand today.
Well, the thing that comes to mind right away is when we get to points in our lives, because it happens in this career, there will be slow moments. There'll be slow points where it's like, okay, am I good enough? Does anybody want to hire me, book me, or whatever? Because we're constantly auditioning. Sometimes we get offers. Let me speak for myself personally. I get offers and I have to audition for things. But I when I get to that point, I remind myself, don't worry about what God's going to do, because he's done it before. So I have to remind myself, he's done it before, he'll do it again.
Yeah.
Done it before, he'll do it again. And just keep telling myself that, because I read across something which really resonated with me. And it said, in essence, the more we complain, if we complain a lot, that means we are not walking in, we're not trusting in faith. We're too busy complaining when we should be concentrating and focusing on what God has done for us,
Yes,
and I have to remind, I'm in the same boat as everybody else. I have to remind myself of that from time to time, because it can get in this industry, it can get a little stressful, a lot of stressful. Let me put it out there. And people, I want to do this and I want to be in this industry. And I'm like, are you really built for this? Because it's not so much of fame for me. I don't think it's ever really been that for me. It's been, I am so grateful to be doing what I do, knowing that I knew it at an early age.
Yeah.
There's work that comes with this. And people only see the pictures on social media and they just assume, about all this fame and all this money in the bank and all this whatever their brains concoct.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, it's hard work and it's a calling for me anyway. And I know there's a deeper meaning for it. It's not about let me be famous. It's what I'm supposed to do with it. And it takes me back to that parable about the talents. You know, God gave me something and what am I supposed to do with it? How am I going to multiply it? How am I going to benefit others with this gift that I was blessed to have? Because I didn't study, believe it or not, I didn't study theater or drama or music in school. I'm a biology major because I came from a small town where I needed to get something, although I love science, you know, but I wanted to do something practical. And so I went to school with that in mind. I wanted to have a music degree, but that's not the path I chose. Or degree, that is. But I was always singing and always acting in some capacity. So it's interesting, no matter what you try to do for yourself, whatever God has for you to do, it's just going to happen. So.
Yeah, so many gems and so much wisdom you drop.
Oh, yeah. Still learning.
I mean, you're soaking it all. I'm soaking it all up because it's amazing. You know, a lot of people think, oh, you get to a point to where you know it all. No, you don't. It's every moment is a teachable moment.
That's true. That's true.
I'm gonna get you out of this interview on a fun question.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about the HBCU experience.
Woo-hoo! Winston-Salem State University. That's all I know. That oh my goodness, that was an experience. I would not change that for the world. I would not. I'm so glad that I went to an HBCU. Winston-Salem State is my alma mater. And I have other HBCU grads in my family. And we celebrate that. That experience gave me a certain perspective that I never had before. I mean, I grew up in a traditional Black church. I went to a diverse high school, predominantly Caucasian. There were times I was the only African-American in my classes in high school. And though I think I can navigate through a lot of different cultures because I always have, having that one experience it helped me figure out and discover my identity, where I fit in the world and how I'm viewed in the world and how to navigate after college. You know, high school doesn't really prepare you for that.
No.
Some colleges don't prepare you for that as an African-American, but I needed that for my life. And I didn't know how much I needed it until I went there.
Definitely nothing like the HBCU experience. And another tool in preparing you for life and all of its challenges. Again, it has been an incredible pleasure to have you on the Elite Life Show. You dropped many wisdoms, and I hope my audience was paying attention because there's legacy and there's honor in listening and paying attention and grabbing what you can grab out of the lesson, you know, the session, I call it. And I just thank you for taking the time out for coming on my show and dropping a lot of wisdom and a lot of gems. And I definitely continue to wish you much success, that God covers your path as he has always done and continues to be the leader in the movement in your life. And that every project that you touch and everything that you do, as you have done and as you will do, it will leave legacy and it will be of you and a great representation for all others to blaze a path and to be inspired to blaze a path.
Well, thank you so much for that. Thank you. And I want the same for you, and just be blessed in all that you do. One thing I do know, it's this life is real, and we only have one time to go through it. And whether we want to face it or not, you know, just because I'm in the industry that I'm in, I want to be a light in this industry. I don't want to be that one that's just chasing fame. And I don't want people seeing that about me. I want to have that integrity, and I want to be an example so that people know that they don't have to say yes to everything. You don't. I don't say yes to everything. I turn down more things than I say yes to, simply because I know better at this point in my life. I know better for me. I know there's a spiritual realm, and it's very important to me.
I couldn't have said it. You said it and summed it up all in that statement. I thank you again for coming to the Elite Life Show. I want everybody
Thank you for having
to,
me.
that enjoyed this episode and know that Miss Maria Howell is legacy. She is what you think about when you think about the foundation of faith and where it can carry you in this life. With the mustard seed faith and understanding what God has for you and discovering your relationship with God will take you places that your name has been spoken in, but you ain't stepped foot in. She is the example of that, and she's blazing her path of purpose. That within itself is an amazing blessing.
Yes, and amen.
So
Thank you.
let me say, everybody stay tuned. You've been watching the Elite Life Show here on TNE Network. Stay tuned after the break as we wrap it up. Yo, this is James JT Thompson. If you're interested in being a guest on the Brave Talk Show, hit us up through email at t.n.e.networksllc@gmail.com. We back from the break, man. Again, tremendous honor to have Miss Maria Howell on the program today. I hope you enjoyed it because I certainly did. Until next time, may God truly bless your life tremendously in everything that you do. Mustard seed faith and action behind that is what's going to get it in. I'm your host, James J.T. Thompson, and you've been watching the Elite Life Show on TNE Network.